Hey guys, I'm gonna do a topic that I haven't heard really anybody talk about in like a specific detailed video like this about how do you know if you're taking the right amount of gear. And obviously blood work is the best indicator, that's the go-to, but there's other ones as well that you just know that you're taking the perfect amount, okay? And it's like based on feeling, like on your body. Like if you're really in tune with your body, like for me, I know if I've eaten too much or I'm eating too little based on, just being. It's sure it's hunger, but it's more than that. It's like satiation. Like I know that I've eaten well for the day, and like enough to recover the perfect amount. Right? I know when I've got the perfect amount of sleep, when I haven't slept too little or too much. Right? It's just like that right amount, around like 8 to 9 hours, if it just feels good, right? Or that you just know you have a body feeling where you just know that you trained the best. You didn't train too hard, you didn't train too not enough, right? It was just like that was a perfect training day, right? Well, there's the same with the amount of gear you take. You just have this feeling that that you're taking the right amount based on a few indicators. So there's it's like a few like a barometer, in your body that's knows if there's what the level is good. Okay, a few indicators of that, physiological indications. One is that it's not affecting your sleep too much. Okay, now there's some drugs that affect your sleep because it has a direct effect on your nervous system. One is that's popular for this is Trembolone, okay? But there's also other ones like Anavar and such. If you're taking too much Anavar, I believe it's going to affect your sleep. And I'm pretty sure if you're taking too much testosterone, it could as well. Don't quote me on that one, but that's just one indicator. Sleep, you're getting still a solid sleep, and that's very important, okay? Second is that you got to notice, and maybe taking before and after photos, like before your cycle and then during your cycle, etc., that you're not bloating up too much, right? You can see like little indicators in your face that like your face starting to swell and things. If your face starts to swell too much, that's a physical indication that you're probably taking a little bit too much gear, so maybe tone it down, unless you really want to bulk up and bloating isn't really an issue. But for most people, I'm going to say that means that you're probably taking a little bit too much if you're bloating up a bit, okay? So it's an indication to maybe just tone it down a bit, right? You've gone a little too high maybe on your testosterone or some of the other compounds, particular compounds that you're taking. All right, next, which for me is like the biggest indicator. I know like a week or two into my cycle that I know my blood serum concentration levels are getting up because my libido just goes through the roof. Sexual performance is like skyrocketed, probably like 2 or 3 times what normal is, okay? And first thing in the morning, you know what I mean, like we're guys, we get that morning like erection. It's just like, but it's even more than that, and through the day. Just seeing girls in general, like the physiological reaction I have to hot chicks, my own girl, like sexual with her, and trust me, they like it too. Like when you're with somebody, you're able to channel that energy. It's more stronger sexual passion, and that's a healthy thing. But it also can be too much. But like if it's all the time, and for some people, that might lead to some issues like infidelity and such. But that's a side note. But that's one way you got a good level of gear when you're like this, because sometimes if you take too much testosterone and there's too much estrogen conversion, it can actually cause a little bit of erectile issues. Or same with DECA. You take too much, there's too much progesterone, you get DECA dick. I noticed when I was taking testosterone and Primobolan, of all things, I noticed a bit of that. So that's why I don't really do Primo anymore. I just switched to Masteron. But nonetheless, I was probably taking too much of it. All right. So, but that's an indicator, and the same goes for if your estrogen is too low, sexual performance. But for the most part, it's going to be when it's too high. That's an indicator. Like if you have sexual dysfunction at all, you're taking too much, tone it down, your sex drive's like on fire, you're at like a better. I know there's still a range there, but it's better, okay? Effect on mood. So this one's a bit of a tricky one because you could be like off the charts in your steroid use, redlining, whatever, and your mood's great. But there's going to be mood is kind of a multi-spectrum. It's like a spectrum of different, traits, different emotions and such. So you want to be on a mood where you're still chill, right? You still feel chill, but you feel good. You have all the energy you need. You have that drive in the gym. You have drive, but you're not having drive at the expense of being like too anxious or too irritable or too much energy and like aggressiveness and such. You still want your mood to be chill, okay? If you're not chill, you're probably taking too much, okay? Some people can tolerate higher doses and be really chill. Other people can't, right? And end up breaking up with their girlfriend or starting fights and having too much anxiety and such. That's one barometer for me that I know if I'm taking too much of, especially nandrolone, because I just start getting a bit anxious. I'm like, so when I toned it down one of the last times I was blasting, I found a dose and then I kept it there, and I'm not anxious anymore. I'm still getting the benefits, so I know that's great, right? Another major indicator is physiological is heart rate. I'm sure you guys all know that. If your heart rate starts going above 135, 140, it's like probably a good indicator to tone down the testosterone a little bit, tone down some of the other things you're doing. That's a real simple one. But the last one I want to illustrate is just your performance in general at the gym, or your performance in general. Like obviously, if you start blasting a lot of gear, you're going to, potentially your performance is going to go up, and it doesn't matter. You're taking more than you should, and you're doing really well. But other times, like if you're doing too much, you start getting out of breath a lot easier. And there's other indicators like you might be lightheaded, you might be dizzy a little bit more. This comes down to higher blood pressure. The effects higher blood pressure has on gym performance and things, your cardiovascular system. You'll see indicators. I know I've experienced this where it was like, I just feel like shit at the gym. It's probably because I did a little bit too much. This was like some of my early cycles. So I toned it down. You should feel kind of normal still, quote normal. I know you won't be feeling totally normal, but you should be feeling like it's not affecting your gym performance at all, or your performance in general in life. Like you shouldn't feel out of breath when you're walking upstairs and things. There's also some other things I could talk about, but those are the main ones. I think these are the main indicators. Pretty simple video, but as well. But the main indicators is going to be getting your blood work done and making sure your lipids are in check and your estrogen and everything's in check. Obviously, don't neglect that. But even if that's all in check, there might still be indicators that's not having to do with blood work. And again, this has to come down to being in tune with your body, and like it's more of like an intuition, or like this empathy with yourself kind of thing, where it's like if you feel yourself, you feel that everything is good. Like I know sometimes if I eat like dodgy food, I just know that like right after that, or like as soon as I put it in my mouth, it's like something's wrong with this food, right? And then I don't know until the next day when I actually have a explosive diarrhea that actually I was right. There's an intuition that we know in our bodies that some are in tune with, I think more than others. Like personally, I don't even count calories or anything like that. I know a lot of people who have to if they're like for their goals, or like when it comes down to like lifting weights, like counting the number of reps and sets and things. Like I don't even do that. Like I just know based on my feeling if I've trained hard enough or I've eaten enough that day. And if I haven't eaten enough and I feel like I haven't, I might eat like a chicken sandwich or something just to get that extra calories in, or like a little extra protein or something in there, because being in tune with that. And I've dialed my own steroid use over now. I'm like 4 or 5 blast cycles in right now. Like I've dialed it to like a perfection of where I know that the amount I'm doing is perfect, based on a lot of these indicators that I'm telling you about. Now, I'm still on kind of the high end of it, where like some of it, sometimes high blood pressure creeps through, sometimes, you know, a little bit of anxiety creeps through and such like that. But overall, a little bit of bloating sometimes, that's fine, because I'm going to that higher level. But anymore, it would be more pronounced, and I know if it's pronounced, it's like, you know, my car just had a thing go off for that I was out of gas. You know, your body has these indicators, right, flashing like check engine soon type of thing, or change oil soon. That indicators that say that you're taking too much. This is your own body's natural response to something that's off balance in your body. I'll leave it there. What are your thoughts on this video? It's actually, I think this is a very important video, and again, something that I've really not heard. I've heard people touch upon in the conversations, and trust me, I listen to steroid podcasts and everything every day, a lot, right? So I got my finger touch on like the pulse of this subject matter. And yeah, I haven't heard anybody talk in this, put it and lay it out in the sense that I have right now. So what are your guys' thoughts? Leave in the comments section below. Is there any other indicators I missed? I can think of a few more off the top of my head, but you know, I'm gonna keep it simple to those points I made. And so leave in the comments if there's any more you can think of. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.